All right, here we go. September 20th. Oh, started on the 8th. A little bit of quick mathematics. It's got to be day 43. Rotating arms, boy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to start by stretching out my glutes. We're going to talk a little bit about the game plan. What the fuck we're going to do in there today. How we're going to pump up these little pipe daddies. On a side note, if any of you are interested in seeing more of my mobility work, what I do to warm up and manage all of the muscle imbalances that I have, and you want to see more specifics of everything and have me talk more about it, let me know. Leave a comment. Because otherwise, I'm probably just going to kind of do like a quick introductory clip and talk about the game plan for the actual training. Cause that's more what I'm thinking about. A lot of the mobility stuff is like sort of on autopilot. Depending on how my body responds, I adjust a little bit and maybe spend certain more time on certain things. If like I'm having an issue with my right shoulder, I might spend more time rolling out the pec, stretching the lat, whatever it may be. Anyways, if you want to see more of that shit, more specifics, because I know in some of my other posts on Instagram and TikTok, there's a lot of people out there that have like fucked up imbalances and misalignment issues too. And it took me a long time to figure out how to manage all this shit so that I can actually do some training still. And a lot of it's like kind of quirky and strange, like what muscles I need to release. And some of it's specific to me, but just posting more about that, I've seen other people commenting, oh, I've had something similar, my body's misaligned, I had this injury, that injury. How do you do this? Like, what should you do for that? So if you want to see more of that, let me know. I'm going to kind of do that based on demand. Otherwise, it's kind of bang out this first introductory clip when I'm just stretching here. Today is going to be fast and heavy day again, which I don't feel like I'm progressing with that much. And I've tried a few different things, a few different ways to try and make it more intense, different in some way. If you're familiar with my approach, I don't think you should ever consistently do the exact same workout over and over for an extended period of time. I think that's how you just cook up a plateau for yourself. So if you want to see improvement, you want to see change, you want to see growth, you got to be doing something different. The weight's got to be going up, the reps got to be going up, you got to change your tempo, you got to change your intensity, you got to change your frequency, you got to change all these little fucking variables I keep talking about over and over again. And so in this day, we're doing 5 rounds of the superset between tries and buys. And I'm pushing with fast, explosive tempo, trying to move heavy ass weight, resting extended periods, 6-minute window, 6-minute round, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck could I do differently? Previously, like there was a couple months kind of in the summer where this technique really worked well and the weights were going up and it felt like I was progressing. Now it's kind of plateaued in the other day where I'm doing the intense psycho set, drop set, mayhem. I feel like that day actually is what's the primary thing driving my growth now. And we're just really going max on intensity. And what I found was that there's another level of intensity that I wasn't tapping into. I'm doing some workouts with some friends. I normally just train alone. For whatever reason, like them just being their presence led to me pushing myself harder. And then I was like, holy shit, I was way more sore. I felt way more like fucking juicy and thick the next day. Those are like the little details you can kind of pay attention to try to assess if one workout to the next is working. If you're really paying attention to your body, you can feel after a really good session, if it was like leading to muscle growth, the next day you're going to notice some shit going on over time as you get more in tune with your body. Anyways, so I don't know what the fuck to do differently because I don't even feel that fired up to come in here and do this workout. It's just the same shit that I did the last time a couple days ago. And how could I make it more fucking intense in a way that's going to lead to muscle growth? Because I've experimented with so many different strategies and techniques and shit, and I know certain shit just doesn't work. It's not worth it. And I've got a couple styles here that I've seen to work, focusing on pushing fast, heavy weight, and then doing the intense drop sets with extreme intensity, extending the set over and over and taking yourself beyond failure. I found those to kind of be the primary two styles that I'm rocking with. And it could be the combination of the kind of fast, heavy day with the extreme intensity drop sets day that is leading to success. Because sometimes a pitfall or a thing you got to watch out for is like you find something new and it seems to work, but part of it is the novelty or part of it is the combination of that with what you were previously doing, right? So if you have your regular routine and you try something different and all of a sudden it's like a couple of weeks in, you're like, wow, I'm clearly like growing more, I'm getting stronger, and you then just start doing the new thing, I find usually that ends up having diminishing returns, meaning the effectiveness of it wanes over time. And you'd be better off, and maybe more of that effectiveness was that there was some novelty, there was some difference, some variability in your training, and also perhaps it was the combination of those two different styles. And that period where you were transitioning from one to the other was what led to the most effectiveness. Food for thought. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm thinking, but we're going to blast it. We're going to see. Maybe today the reps will go up some. Maybe I could do more volume, but then I'm going to be in here for 17 hours because the rest times are long. I don't know. But these are ways you guys should think about your training too. Just like, what the fuck could I do differently? How could I level it up some? So I'm going to do a few more stretches here, well, a whole bunch more, and then we're going to massage the titties out, get all warmed up and everything, and we'll cut to the clips of doing the sets. Hopefully we can get some extra reps with those heavy-ass dumbbells today. And maybe in the meantime, I will have cooked up some new twists to add to this day. Stay tuned. Okay, here we go. We got 2 sets down already. 2 rounds. Went about as bad as it could go. My elbows are fucking bugging me. That's from sitting too much. As school started, I'm fucking sitting all the time now. My hips tighten up, my shoulders tighten up. And it was a really distracted warm-up mobility session. So the first couple of rounds, the reps were way lower than normal just because it's like hard to fucking max it out when your elbows are kind of hurting. So I just like can't really push with the same intensity. Anyways, I did some more ball work to try to loosen up the pecs some. And normally this set I'd go up to the 110, but we're going to stick at the 105. And 15 reps would be a target of like an improvement, which I'm still going to aim for, but who knows what the fuck's going to happen. So there we go. Yeah, trying to really focus on my cues of keeping the shoulders down, your elbows tucked into the mirror. Hopefully that'll help. Come on. Come on. Well, felt moderately better. Reps are still way down, but it was definitely a better fucking set than the first two. And I think part of the lesson would be like some days you are going to run into shit. That's like emotionally upsetting. I had to go sit in the corner for a second and collect myself. But you shouldn't quit or walk out of the gym or anything, but just find ways to adapt and improve. Because sometimes you have those days where things don't go your way. So rest another 2 minutes and we'll do another set of curls. Okay. Fucking curls, round 3. So we're using the 50-pound dumbbells for the hammers. And like I talk about every fucking day, try to limit the swinging and momentum while also pushing with max intensity and speed. A fine line. And I think what I'm going to focus more on this set is to not straighten out quite as much, which I've talked about before. Try to keep that tension on the bicep and not let your arm go all the way to hang. So that's what I'm going to think about this set. And we're going to shoot for 14. Oh, the other thing too is that I don't want my shoulders coming up. And I find a little trick that helps to avoid that is when you're doing the hammers, to think about turning your palms up a bit. It forces you to keep your elbows in at your sides rather than this kind of thing happening. Which can happen as your biceps start to fatigue and then the tension moves off of the biceps. So if you think about, as you bring the weight up, just turn that pinky up a little, forces your shoulders to stay down, your elbows to stay tucked, and all of the tension to stay on your bis. Or most of it. Little fucking pro tip for you. Chest out, shoulders down. Oh, shit, daddy. Ooh, that was a good fucking set. That's what we want. Maximum intensity, some little bit of speed with the reps. Also, maintaining your form as best you can. So as the set progresses, it's easy in the beginning to have good form. But then as the set progresses, those cues I mentioned ahead of time are useful to have in your mind. So I'm thinking elbows tucked, shoulders down, a little twist of the pinkies. And then when it gets intense, I'll close my eyes and try to keep all of the tension or force coming from your bicep. Because again, as you get into the last handful of reps, the tendency is for other muscles to take over and your form to slip. So you want to try to force the working muscle to do as much as you can as you enter that zone. That's hard, and that's probably where the most important shit happens too. Okay, set 4, and we've gone up from the 105 up to the 110, which on a day that your elbows are bugging you a little bit, maybe not the smartest idea, but I'm a little bit fucking psychotic, so we're going to go for it anyways. This would be my normal top weight of 110 pounds. And last workout on the 2 top sets, I got 11 reps and then 10 reps. So if I can get 11 reps here, that would be some redemption for the shitty start to the workout. And the last set with the 105s, my elbows are starting to feel better. We've loosened up some of the chest and lats a little bit to get my shoulders into a better position and not put as much stress on the elbows. So 11 reps here. Let me get a good fucking song for this. No, just a little extra fucking juice for daddy. I gotta go back 10 minutes on the MP3 player. If you're making fun of me for using an MP3 player, fair. But Think about how much more focused I am. Because I'm not getting distracted on my fucking phone in between sets and shit. Not that I have a smartphone anyways, but I'm living in 2003 using a flip phone still. But if you text, like, I don't know, I think having your phone with you all the time, to each his own, whatever works, as long as you push hard during the sets. But I like to stay focused and not have something distracting me. I want all my mental energy to be directed into the sets. But if you have your phone in between sets, it works for you. Fucking keep doing your thing. All right along. Keep rocking my MP3 player. Now, listen to these fucking like hour-long mixes, and there's this one song that really fucking fires me up, so we had to go back in time 10 minutes to get that for this one. Alright, 11 reps can be done. Come on, bitch. Come on. We got two little fuckers jimmy rigged on the bottom there. Let's go. 11. Not gonna happen. Not really a good fucking set. I'll take a little break. Another set of curls. Round 4 curls. For as shitty as the tricep sets are going, biceps are feeling amazing, so that's a plus. Yeah, that last set was like peak what I want, and I try to repeat the same thing. I swear, like, with any kind of bicep curling movement, unless you're like locked into the preacher curl or something like that, the key fucking thing to focus on is pushing to your max while not letting your form slip as you approach failure. It's hard to do, and I think you need to be like super focused on what and intentioned with what you're doing on every set. As soon as I like kind of forget my cues or slack off, the set's not as good, and I just end up using my traps in my lower back. So let's go for 14. The cues of keeping my elbows bent and turning my pinky up just a little bit. What I'm thinking about is I approach failure. I try to take the intensity on the biceps to the maximum. Ooh. Yep. Another good one. Hell yeah. That's what we like. And another thing that you can... Oh, sorry, bro. My bad. Another thing to focus on is when you start to hit those failure or close to failure reps, is to not like bring your elbows up and arch your lower back. Instead, you'd be better off to keep everything tight, but shorten your range of motion. So you see on the last rep that I'm keeping everything tight, and if I can't get the weight all the way up on the last rep, I'd rather fail at my biceps instead of using my back. Because then also you're not training your ability to keep the tension on the working muscle. You're telling yourself as soon as the set gets hard enough or intense enough or the muscle gets fatigued enough, I'm going to shift the work onto my other muscles, being my lower back, being momentum, being your traps, being whatever. And so you're not teaching yourself to develop the approach of, as I get closer to failure, I'm going to keep all the, as much as possible, tension on the working muscle. And if I push so hard that I can't get a full contracted rep, so be it. But I'm not going to use other muscles and sacrifice my form. Okay, round 5. We got a little crack in the window here. My bank shot's not working that well. Put the divide in the mirror there. Oh well. It's gonna have to do. Okay. So 5th set might be the last one. I might do 6 rounds. Why? I'm not really sure. Potentially to make up for the beginning shitty sets. But I think the thing to focus on today is that some days, like, you're just maybe not going to have the best workout, and you could let it go to your head and not be as positive or focused. And I think what the goal is, what I try to do, is to max my effort that I give no matter what. In the case of today, my having a little bit of an elbow issue, the numbers aren't as good as they should be, for whatever reason, with the tricep extensions. So you could probably get in my head and go, oh, it's fucking shitty workout, this, that, whatever. What you can control is the amount of effort that you put into every set. So I'm going to focus on, okay, I'm still going to give as much intensity, as much focus into every set, even though my performance is not where I'd like it to be or where it's been in the past, which can easily demotivate you if you focus on those things. But the variable you can control is how much effort you're putting in. So I'm going to stay positive and put maximum effort in, even if my performance isn't like where I'd like it to be. You know, develop that kind of, it's a small thing, but like a little bit of mental resiliency, so that no matter what's going on with your body or mentally in your life, you're still going to keep that output that you give in each session consistent. And you pride yourself on, I'm going to give max effort no matter what's going on. So let's go. Let's go for 13. Come on. We're down to the 105. Ooh. Oh, fuck. So, I mean, you could say that a lot of this, like, shit I'm talking about is overkill. It kind of is, but if you want to be super consistent with your workouts and not let, like, little things throw you off, then I think learning to develop some of these, like, mental hacks comes in useful. So even in that set, like, as I'm going for 13. As I get to, like, 8 or 9, it starts to feel shitty, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Maybe I'm not going to get it. But thinking about that line of thought is not going to help me get a good set. So instead, I switch gears into, I'm going to max my effort out. I'm going to be a fucking psycho and just not think about that at all. Like, you kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you want to develop that type of mentality where you're like, just become a little grinder that pushes harder the harder things get, or the worse circumstances are. Trying to get 13 reps, you feel like you're not even going to make it a 10. You go, oh, that's a good thing. I'm going to just dig into that extra gear. I don't know if I'm explaining it that well, but I find developing little mentality hacks like that will help you to push through tough workouts, or tough sets even. So one more set of these curls here in a minute, after about 2 to 3 minutes rest. So I let my central nervous system fully recover-ish. And the biceps will now have had like 6 or 7 minutes rest, which, as I've talked about before, I've found universally longer rest times to be way better for building muscle. I think short rest times maybe have their place here and there, but generally speaking, that's what I've found. Haven't experimented with different kinds of workouts where you do like a superset like this, but like really quickly, maybe you get a bigger pump. But over many years, trying that while changing a lot of the other variables, always it seemed like shorter rest times didn't really lead to as much muscle gain. So, and conversely, longer rest times always seemed to be correlated with workouts that led to muscle gain. Well, that's just a personal observation, but you can fucking do whatever you want. See what works for you. But try longer rest times. And there's this whole thing where like people have like a completely different approach to training arms. It's like all the things that you do for your back or your legs or your chest, all those just go out the window. And then for arms, for some reason, you should just superset them really fast and like use a different rep range. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. They're still muscles. I know there's some difference, but I don't see why you wouldn't use all the same types of principles if we're focusing on progressive overload or whatever strategy you're using to grow your back or your chest. Why treat your arms as this like strange muscle group that should only be supersetted and using high reps or something? I don't know. It's just something I've seen, and having done it, I didn't find that approach to be nearly as effective. And if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. Why would your arms need a completely different training style to grow? Fucking side rant. Okay, let's go for 13. Elbows tucked. Turn the pinkies up a little bit. Come on. Not as good. Nope. I don't know, you might not be able to tell from watching it, but I can feel it's like that fine line, those finishing last couple of reps. My form was just not as tight, not as much of the emphasis is on the biceps then. We'll do one more round. Okay, sixth and final round. Oh, usually I do 5, but I feel like because the start of the workout was so shit that I should throw in an extra round here. And the last handful of sets have felt better on my elbows and everything. The other thing that I should mention is, in terms of like joint pain, say my philosophy is probably a bit unpopular or unorthodox. What I've seen is that, so take my elbows for example. Remember a while ago, I've had issues with both elbows. I was like, oh, it's injured, so I should rest and not train for like weeks. And that doesn't get any better. And although acute injuries exist, meaning like if you tear your ACL or you tear a ligament in your elbow or something, that's all a fucking injury that you need to rest. But a lot of times, like long-term chronic pain that builds up over time, I found is usually related to muscle imbalances around the nearby joints or that joint itself. So in this case, for my elbows, like I know it's because the muscle imbalances in my hips are exacerbated from all the sitting I've been doing, which works its way up chain into my shoulders. And so as the workout's going on, and I'm focusing on my cues and getting stretch, I'm stretching my lats and my chest out more and more, and my shoulder capsule's sitting in a better position, and then all of the pain in the elbows starts to alleviate. And that's a lot of like what my warm-up routine is reducing the tension in my shoulders, hips, so that I can get myself into a solid position and those imbalances aren't affecting the joints. It's not the best description of it, but generally speaking, if you have like a long-term issue in one of your joints, there's probably some type of muscle imbalance or postural imbalance or misalignment issue that at the very least is contributing to it. And if you can figure out what it is and address that and release the tension in the areas that are tight, you may still be able to go in and train. Oh, I think 13 would be a good number. The 100. Did I get 12 with the 105? Yeah, 13. It's a good target. Let's go. Yeah, come on. Ugh. 14. Yes, sir. See, that was the first set that actually felt fucking good. And I felt like my shoulders were locked into a solid position. The elbow pain was minimal. And I can really kick it into that gear and be aggressive with the set. It's like 14 reps with the 100 as my last set is a way higher output than any of my previous sets, even though it's the last one and it should be the worst since I'm the most fatigued. So I'm going to stay optimistic with this training style, this specific workout, with the 5-6 sets, longer rest times, fast explosive tempo, where I'm focused on upping the weight, increasing the reps. I think the main thing that's holding me back lately is that the elbow pain. You think, oh, it's because it's heavy weight. No, because for months before, I was doing it fine. And I know my body, it totally fluctuates depending on how bad the muscle imbalances are. So I'm going to make an effort to sit less, spend a little bit more time doing mobility, and the elbow situation can get better. And then I'm going to be able to progress this workout. And we'll stick with it for a little while. Be patient. I'm reflecting more. This workout, the elbow pain is particularly bad, but in the past several weeks, since I've been back in school and I've been sitting more, it's definitely been the thing where I just can't like push hard. Like I just took a soccer ball to the nuts. I can't push hard because I'm focusing. I just can't lock it into a good position. So let's do this last set of curls. And the other reason I'd be optimistic is that the curls, seemingly, I'm getting stronger. So there's no reason that my doing the exact same thing for my triceps that I wouldn't also be getting stronger there. Save for the fact that my tightness and imbalances in my shoulders, chest, is impeding me from getting the movement into a strong position and leading to some elbow tenderness. So those are my concluding thoughts about that. So we'll do one more set here. I think 13 is a good number. I mean, it depends how fucking serious you are about your training and gains and shit, but if you're thinking, oh, this is like a little obsessive, because it is, but also, if you want to keep seeing progress, you need to, I think, approach your training to this degree somewhat, where you're like reflecting on it, thinking about your workouts, thinking about maybe the issues you're running into, thinking about new things you need to do to improve, and like progressing and tweaking and adjusting it. And so I think if nothing else, you can get a little insight into my mind. I mean, I'm not a big fucking deal or anything, but I love training and I love the game of like continuously trying to progress your training to see more growth. And many ways to do it, but I think adopting some type of mentality like this is key. You get stagnant and content with your workouts and you can't make any fucking progress, I'll tell you that much. Okay, let's go 13. Focus on the cues. Shoulders down, chest out, turn the pinkies, max intensity. Oh, about as good as it could be considering what I got left in the tank. Oh, that's a wrap. I'll put all this shit away, and then we'll go do a little flex down and debrief. All right. So the regular studio is occupado. So we're doing a little fucking avatar flex down edition here. This workout, the pump is not that big. Maximized the longer rest times, also the fast explosive tempo. I find if you use a slow tempo, a controlled negative, the pump is way more. So yeah, this workout's not really directed towards super fatiguing the muscle, getting tons of blood into the muscle. It's more about trying to move as much weight as you can, which I've been seeing to be effective for muscle growth. Pretty shitty workout in some ways. One of the most adversity I've ran into in training in a long time. And I kind of rushed the warm up. I was a bit distracted, talking to people, chatting, and then I did rush it as well because I got to the gym a little late and I wanted to take my pre-workout. We're doing a little bit of pre on these days when I'm pushing heavy weight. I didn't want the workout to get pushed too late, so I was rushing. And then, like I mentioned, all the fucking sitting, everything's getting kind of tight and locked up. So we're going to do some shit to address that. And yeah, I hope that you can see a little glimpse into like the daily grind and dealing with some adversity and some challenge. Because ultimately, if you want to build muscle and you're super serious about it, you can't really let little things knock you off the path. You have to find ways to kind of plow through. So whether it be an injury or some like pain in a joint, or it be something outside of the gym, stress, this, that, you have to find a way to be consistent. And some of those mentality things I was talking about that are, maybe a little over the top, but for me, I find it super useful to tap into those. Because at the end of the day, you're a fucking human. We're not robots. And although you may want to be stoic and unemotional, I find if you can learn to kind of leverage emotions in your favor, it can be useful too. And so finding a way to kind of take pride in being somebody that's like a bit grindy and like excels in adversity. Again, it's just fucking working out. It's not like you're accomplishing some immense thing, but I find that mentality to be very useful when you run into problems or issues in your training, things that could throw you off the path. Yeah, that's it. Day 43. And another little side note that I'll end you with. I know I get fucking rambling and talking about all kinds of shit, but I'm trying to do my best to give information and kind of just walk you through what I'm doing as I go through this whole journey. And I think I'm going to get better at it as I go, because being in a public gym with people around you, and there was a hot chick working out next to me during most of that, I find it's hard to like, you got the camera and you're like sort of talking to, it's hard to just like be completely authentic and yourself. So yeah, stick with me. I'm gonna get better at being genuine, because I know it's more enjoyable to watch when somebody's authentic. So I think get more comfortable with that as I go, and ultimately as the arms get bigger and bigger. Yeah, dude, yeah. Because muscles are what build your confidence, not anything else. That's a huge mistake to think that, if you're nervous or uncomfortable or you don't have confidence in yourself, that you're going to compensate for that by building up your muscles. You're just going to shield yourself and never actually force yourself to grow. So although I think training for muscle growth can be an immensely beneficial pursuit, not just physically, but also mentally, everything that you have to put into the journey, you got to be careful, because I've definitely noticed a trend of people who use it to shield themselves. And I don't think I'm immune to that, but when I completely lost it and I couldn't train at all, I didn't feel like I had any less self-worth. I just got into other things. I got into video editing, this, that. But yeah, if you're using it to like protect yourself from whatever inadequacy that you feel, which we all have, I would say to watch out for that and realize that like if you're fucking skinny, it doesn't matter. You could be super confident and you could be a great person. You don't have to have fucking muscles to be important and to be valuable and to be confident. Exercising some, having a strong body, being healthy is good. You don't have to have fucking pumped up arms and a big chest to actually have confidence. So if you're a young guy and you're picking up on that message and you think that you need to fucking build up your muscles to be confident and have self-worth, and you're looking up to these other guys and think you need to look like that, nah. It's a pursuit that can pay dividends and is worthwhile and will shape you and mold you mentally and physically. But you got to address your shit outside of that and realize that having big fucking muscles does not mean anything. It doesn't make you better than anyone else. And it's not going to give you the confidence and the security in yourself that you want. So don't look at it for that. I told you, man, side rants, side rambles. Fucking hell. We'll see you in the next one.